So today's topic is build a team learning loop. Okay. First of all, just in chat, can someone just give me a number of how many people do you have on your team? So if it's just yourself, just put one. If you have contractors, let's just count that as zero point 0.5. And but full-time staff, full-time remote staff, that would be counted as one too. Okay. Just have an idea of everyone's team sizes. And also, one more question is how many years have you been running your business? Just put a year. We're just starting. Put 0, 2 years. Good, good. Okay. Got some two, got some fours. Lean, is that five? Five's team member, right? Not year, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so good. So we do have first year's the toughest, right? So if you can survive the first year, you survive. I think there's this stat I read a while back. 90% of businesses fail in the first year. So great, you survived. You're the 10% now. And now let's try to get to the next 10 years, right? Now, with building a team and learning loops, one of the things as I scale my own business, I I run into these challenges of hey, like I, I told you this 2 weeks ago, right? Ever experienced that? Oh, why aren't you doing that? Or I told you 2 weeks ago. I told you 2 months ago. I just said duration, and you feel like you keep repeating yourself, and eventually you're like, hey, you know what? I'll just do it myself, right? And then you go fall, and then if you go that far, then you fall into the trap of, hey, I don't want to hire anyone. I'm gonna do everything myself, but then I don't have time, right? So anyone experienced anything like that before? So let's try to avoid that, right? Especially for those that are hiring new people. Like Brandon, you're going to be hiring a new shooter, right? What it's really a skill problem. I believe that the individual, there's nothing wrong with people in general, right? It's not that they're not capable of doing it. It's usually the organization, leadership that doesn't have the structure or the framework and the constant, like a broken record, right? By the way, as the leader, as the president or CEO of an organization, you have to sound like a broken record. And because just I want you to think of it this way. When you're doing when you meet a new prospect, right? When you're doing sales, do you talk to them for the first time? They met you for the first time and they like, all right, I'm sold. I'll write the $3,000 check or a $6,000 check right away, right? No, that doesn't happen, right? Usually it's multiple touch points. Even if you don't talk to them initially, they might have seen you on an ad or an email or a referral, right, of some sort. And that is a touch point, right? So just like your prospects and your customers, your own team members need that consistency, need that constant, a repeat of your clear messaging, right? And so that's what I'm hoping to teach you is to have what do you say, what do you repeat, and what do you enforce and hold accountable. So a little bit about myself. I'm Dave Lee. I'm the founder of Design Source Media, which is a web agency. DSM Talent is a staffing agency. We primarily staff in the Philippines, find talent for other agency owners. I've been running my agency for over 14 years now, and we're a fully remote team of 18, and I'm a husband and father of 4 kids. So experience, if I can do it with all my kids and my team, you can absolutely do it too. So what we'll cover is why you keep fixing the same thing. What changed when AI showed up and why you should not fix it quietly and what I actually do when something breaks and then your one page. Okay. So I will go deep into all my own messages, direct messages to the team or how the team responds to different scenarios, right? When there is an issue and how we handle that. So, like I mentioned earlier, you fixed it, but twice. So this may look familiar. Like my message might be, hey, when the client report goes out, make sure the invoice column is set to net 30, not net 15. Got it. And then the same thing happens a couple of weeks later. A report went out, but it's net 15 instead of net 30. Double check before sending. And then July 28th, third time this month, the invoice column is still showing net 15. We talked about this on the 3rd and the 17th, right? And you're like, I'm super frustrated. What's going on? It's not a bad hire necessarily, not a bad tool. The fix lived in a chat message and the chat message really don't teach anything, right? It's just more like a quick message. We need better systems. So more work is moving through you, more of it needs checking, right? So before AI, you used to be the one doing all the work, right? And because you're doing all the manual work, you're doing every bit of it. So it's easy to check, right? You're checking on the fly, making things got cheap, but deciding did not, right? So before AI, everything was hard, more work. But with AI, things got faster, right? Now you are the one checking it. So the doing gets faster, but checking never does, right? So the message here essentially is that people think, I think people are starting to change their viewpoint on this now that they're using AI more, is that AI is not a cure-all. It just sped up where whatever you were doing. So if you're really good at what you were doing, you're going to be great at it if you use AI properly. But if your systems aren't there and you're like, hey, you know what, AI, just make our broken system go faster, you're going to crash even faster. Okay. So what we do, the one rule is AI does the first pass and you make the call, right? AI does the draft, multiple drafts, and then you need a human being to make the call. A person decides whether it's right. Treat AI like a junior, not a senior, no matter how confident it sounds, right? So this is important because this part will allow you to get away from the day-to-day operations more, and you want to train your team members to be able to use AI in this way and let them realize that they're also letting AI do the first drafts, but they are not making the final calls. Because that's another word for that is called AI slop. So don't fix it quietly, right? The moment the problem repeats, right, make it visible before you solve it. Okay. So basically, you don't want to be like that superhero syndrome. Anyone experience that? Oh, there's a problem. I'm just going to jump in and solve it, right? Forget even asking what happened, what's going on. I just need to go out and like a firefighter, just put out the fire and just like, everyone get out of the way. I'm just going to do it, right? And then move on. Anyone experience that? Because I sure did in my early years of my business. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going. So don't face it quietly. The pause is what happened, right? Who needs to see it? What should someone read before they fix this again, right? You want to stop before it gets worse. So you see it, you share it, and then you write it. Name the repeat, like not just the mistake. Share it, put it where the right person can respond, and then write it, leave the answer the team can find. So you want to go back to basics, and here's what I actually do. So a problem came up during a one-on-one call, my morning calls with my EA. And here's what happened. So in this scenario, so a little more context, we are switching our CRM system, and there's the tool is called ERP Next. And within that tool, there's ERP Next CRM, and then there's a tool called Frappy CRM, both made by the same developers. And in my EA, she's like, oh, I don't know. I thought we were using ERP Next and we're not using Frappy. And then so I used AI quickly and say, all right, there is a difference. This is the pros and cons between the two. Can you investigate? Right? Which one are we deploying? Which one are we migrating to? We want to make sure we're not wasting our time and energy going down the wrong path. So then we want to get the full story. I'm going to show you here. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So Sig is one of our lead. She leads the admin team, and I asked her, "Hey, which one are we using, and what is our official switchover date?" And she mentioned, "Okay, this is the link. This is on August 17th." And I was like, "Hey, is it okay to remove it? I'm seeing different things. This one's labeled Frappy CRM. I don't think it's actually Frappy CRM. Can you confirm?" And then Sig said, "Okay, I checked both links. They are the same." I said, "Oh, good." So we clarified, and then originally we thought we were using ERP Next CRM because that is the older version or older technology. So that's what's happening here. And all this conversation is happening not inside of private DMs, right? And this is one of the things that I harp on like a broken record all the time. As you hire more people, like for example, Lean has 5 people and Brandon, you have 2. As you scale, as you grow, you want to avoid just DMs or just one-on-one messages whenever you can. You want to have a Slack channel and have that communication in the public chat channels so everyone can collaborate and work together on these things. So this is, and then everyone knows, and you tag the person who owns it. Now, if there's an issue, if you have a problem with someone's performance, then that's when you talk to them privately, right? You praise publicly and you discipline privately. And so SIG provided a clear answer. I get the confusion now. And they hear all 3 are not the same data sets. And then this is our action plan. This is how we're going to fix it, right? With the action plan. So same thing with anyone on your team. You don't want to basically ask them a question and then they respond like, okay, I'll get around to it. Is that later today? Is that 3 days from now? Is it next week? Is it next month? And do we have more context? Do we know what's going on? Do we know what the problem we're trying to solve is? Right. So these things are important because you do not want to waste your time, your energy, your resources, right? Imagine jumping into a car and just driving, right? You have a rough idea, but you're not looking at your GPS and you're just driving. And then finally, you look at your GPS an hour later and you realize you are 45 minutes in the wrong direction, right? Whoops. You don't want to do that. A recommendation is not a decision. So here, our marketing team realizes that there's an issue with our cold outbound, with our email accounts, and why outbound has stopped. And then, so this is what we're seeing. And then this is what we're asking is that, okay, what can we confirm? Is it the tool that we're using? What are the warnings from this tool? What does it mean? How do we solve that? And then all this information is shared in our marketing channel so others can see and learn too and be involved. And then finally, we write it down like, yeah. And then we did more research and we finally have a game plan. Okay. So the win is not picking a tool faster. It was refusing to act on the first answer without checking the real cause. Right. So even though AI is really fast and giving you a answer, right? It doesn't mean that the answer is correct. You have to stop it and say, all right, does it actually have all the context? Has it looked at other options too? This is where the human comes into play, right? So usually humans play the 2 main parts of the planning and making like decisions and polishing. So planning and polishing, you want to think of it that way. AI now takes the middle part of creation, right? The drafting and the build. So the humans does the planning and the polishing. One problem, a reusable way to teach it is like there's a gap. Hey, well, you oversee the program. So this is my message to the team. We can't expect you to be the subject matter expert on every single process in this organization. On the flip side, the SMEs know their topics inside and out, but they aren't necessarily trained in how to teach those skills effectively to others. So a little bit more context here is that one of the shifts that we're moving towards is that all of our experienced team members are very knowledgeable. And so what I'm asking all of our SME subject matter experts is to develop training, right? Training programs. But like one of the problems is that, yeah, an individual may be very technically sound and very good technically, but they may not be very good at teaching, right? And especially going over really complex content and simplified for let's say a level 1 or a level 2, right? A beginner or intermediate. So what do we do, right? So what I like to do is I put together basically, and with the help of AI, I put together basically here's some examples. Here's something to start with. It's like the flint, right? You get the spark going and you start the little fire and you let the rest of the team finish the rest and maintain the fire. And then so my head of admin takes it over because she's responsible for all the training in our company. And then she drafted out a full like diagram and framework. And so the framework is the clear framework. which this is what it looks like, right? The problem, the research, the filters applied, the 9 frameworks that pass all 3 filters, and then the baked in visibility into clear, and then aligned to our DSM values, and then we have our result. So basically we have a template, skills for SME, for any topic, for any organization to basically build training materials. Okay. So that's basically one of our projects that we're working on. So that's the loop, 4 steps. You see it, there's a problem, or it could be a problem, or it could be an idea, whatever that is. You ask the key team members. I usually ask in a full group, and then I share it, and then it's in that channel, and then we document it, right? And then we work on it, and then this loop keeps going. And the key thing is how fast can you go through this full loop from 1 to 4 back to 1, right? Because as you're building it, as you're writing down, what are you seeing? What new things are you seeing? And are you asking the right questions? And then are you communicating with the rest of the team? And then inside of all of this is AI injection, right? AI is involved in every step. So 1 page, 4 columns, not a policy, not a folder, nobody opens, 1 page, 4 columns. This is what you could do for a simple spreadsheet. Create a Google sheet and have these 4 columns. What went wrong, what we changed, the rule we wrote, and did it stick? So that is one of the things that you can do for your loops, and to keep track of all the things that are going wrong or the things that you're working on, to kind of get into the habit of building those loops for yourself and for your organization. Okay? The closest to the work drafts you approve. Whoever is closest to the problem, that's why I say it solves the problem. You don't, especially as you get larger, you have more team members, you have over, let's say, over 10 people, you're getting closer to 20 or 50, right, 100. You definitely don't want to be the person that's trying to solve every single problem, right? It's the closest to the problem. It's not even the manager, it's the person that's in the front lines. So you want the individual to be able to turn the context into a clear rule, update with a 1 page when the work changes, and run the weekly check. And then the owner of the work supply the context, approve the standard, pick the topic, confirm that the rule and its exceptions. So Monday morning, pick the fix you have made twice. Okay, so this homework for everyone. Draft the category rule, and when it does not apply, and then put 15 minutes on your calendar, same slot every week, and then name who runs it, and it's not you. Right. So that's the thing, like, especially as you're running like the momentum campaign, the authority campaign, or you're getting more leads, or you're trying to scale up. Yeah, sure. But you may not have time to hire, but you do need to make time eventually as your campaigns are more successful, you're getting more sales. If you don't get out of that hole, then you're gonna dig yourself deeper and deeper into it, right? So the sooner you do this, the better. And so that way you can start taking things off your plate and focusing on really making the bigger calls. So here's one of the things that we look at as an organization, and this is just a bonus thing you can use. You can basically use a prompt like this to determine if your current tools are AI friendly and are AI ready. So for example, this is the prompt I would use. Please create a CSV that lists out all the tools and their AI compatibility. It should have the following columns: name of application, description, AI ready, additional notes, alternative paid commercial applications, and alternative open source self-hosted options, right? So this is just this one example. You can use other things too. Just think about your own organization, what you're struggling with, and you can just prompt that. And then basically, this is our example of this is what our sheet looks like. Just, it's not complete, but just an example. These are some of the tools that we're using. Description, is it AI ready, right? Can AI interact with it pretty well? And then some additional notes of these particular tools. And then from there, I basically, all these different tools, I assign the responsibility to each of our leaders for these different tools and have them do their research, report their findings in a group, collaborate, and come up with a game plan. So it might be site monitoring, HR system, database, right? Do these things. How well is it compatible with AI? So there you have it. Write the fix down or make it again. Right?